All right, now we're in the config file and it's time to customize it for our study. So a lot of the initial stuff we can just ignore. So here's the name of our study. And we're going to substitute name of your study with the name of our particular study. I'm just going to copy out of the Word document, come over here, right, and just paste it. Control V. And we'll just bring that back up here. Then there are some things about shuffling the cards. Most of this stuff we don't need to worry about. Common password if you want to have students, right, have some code along with the link to sign in. I haven't been doing anything like that. So we'll just kind of chug along. Right? And we're all good. And now we're to please enter your birth year. So one of the things that we want to have in this study is age. So birth year is a good way to do that. So we have that for, right? So, and it's mandatory. So there's a little asterisk next to age. And we can make things mandatory so that they have to respond. And we can do that because it's our basically programmed, so to speak, to have this asterisk mean that it's mandatory. Next up, we have gender. I personally like to call it sex because it's more appropriate to call it sex, right? Because gender is a choice and sex isn't. So here we have male, female, and I'm going to add in here refuse to answer, right? Or just refuse. How about just refuse? Don't really need this space in here. So that just gives me that option. And now we have some questions, right? This is just a yes or no. Is there a car in your household is the default. And we're going to actually do a couple of these things. I think that we can just copy and paste. But our first one is, right, do you have experience interacting with incarcerated individuals in an academic setting? So we'll just hit Control Copy. And we'll just replace our text here, not the input part, right? And then, so now we've done this. I just like to keep track of where I am, so to speak. And then we have you had a family member or friend incarcerated? So here I could do a couple of different options, right? So here is a checkbox. What kind of transportation to use? So I think that this is going to be a better question if I just ask, have you had a family member or close friend incarcerated? Right, and now I can put in family member, friend, and none. So if they wanted to, they could click family member and friend, right? So this particular question, right, is set up so that the participant could click on, right, bike or whatever. So this, I believe this should work. And then here, this next one, right, this is a checkbox, right? This is a select. So I think this might be a pull down. And so now we've done this one, right? Oops. And so now we have another problems associated with mental health. So here is another possibility where we could have, right, a checkbox. Yep. So I'm going to just go in here and copy this. And I'm just going to paste it in here. Oops. And now, have you a family member or, and I'm going to make it and or. So have you had a family close friend? Have you a family member and or a close friend? Experienced problems associated with mental health. And now I have me, family member, friend, or none. And I believe they should be able to. And then we'll put a space in. The spaces don't matter. Here, right, we are just wanting to, all right. All right. So here I have one more question. What are your future occupational goals? Right? And we could have a text box. And so we can make this our comments. Although in my study I happen to make this, right, the comments about the sorting. Right? So I'm just going to do Control C. Right? So I'm just going to have this be, right? So I don't need what kind of transportation. We're not going to select this, so I can ditch this. Just keep it so it looks nice. Program should look nice. And here, oops, I'm just going to put in, what are your future occupational goals? And now there's a text area. It happens that these questions come up after the sorting. And here, I'm just going to make this regarding the sorting process or other thoughts you may have. I like to just leave it. And if I wanted to, I could make some of these other things mandatory, right? So age and sex are currently mandatory, right? And if I wanted to, I could put an asterisk here. And I believe that that would make that, right, mandatory. And we'll go through here. Here we have data transmission. We could put in an email address here, right? So it could be, right, we'll just put my Gmail in here for right now. And that's everything for our config file. And then we're just going to hit save. And then, of course, it's always good. I like to just go in and check. There it is for 8/20/20 right? That means that those are that's the file that I have just saved. And those are the changes then to our config file. So now that I've test driven, I wanted to add a few things about the config file. So I tried a few things earlier in this video, just didn't work. So I ended up coming in and actually force fitting, so to speak, my questions into how everything was set up. So I have a text entry, a radio button entry, a rating, a checkbox, a drop down menu, and then a text area. That's how the original config was set up, and then I just adapted to that. I think that it has something to do with this input type here, but it was way easier to just adapt what I was doing. I did want to add that the asterisk doesn't actually make anything required. What makes it required is where it says required and then it equals true. So here age and sex are required. And right, have you had a friend who has been incarcerated? I made that true. So really, right, I should come in and right, put an asterisk here, and that would indicate that it's required. Same thing here. So this is false. Here this is true. And so I could put an asterisk here, and that would indicate that it is required. And then I would just have to, of course, save it. And, right, so those are some final things to say about setting up our config file.